Hello, and welcome to the Cheese Shop. If you want to become a true connoisseur of the stinkiest cheeses of Cud, there's one very important toolset you need to have: save scumming. The game does have an option to just straight up use saves and quick saves whenever and wherever you want, but maybe you don't want to turn on saving because you're just too good for that. But you also don't want to fully commit to permadeath. Maybe you got a build going and suddenly you die to a Snapjaw scavenger. And I mean, it was just such an unfair death, come on. Yeah, that's how it always starts. Don't worry, I'm not here to judge. Let's talk about how saving works in Caves of Cud. In Classic mode, aka Permadeath mode, the only way to save is to quit the game. That way you can at least take a break and come back later. There's no other options to save from the menu. When you die, you are simply prompted to press space and your character is deleted. To the uninformed, that may seem like there's no way to make a single save point that you can reload again and again if things go awry, but we'll come back to that. Next is Roleplay and Wander modes. In addition to the save and exit option that these modes share with Classic, the game is also automatically saved whenever you enter or leave a settlement. The game refers to this as checkpointing, and you can manually set checkpoints in settlements as well if you so choose. You also have the option to quit without saving from the menu, which will require you to type quit to confirm that this is what you want to do. When you load back into the game after doing this, you will either be loaded into your last exit save or your last checkpoint, whichever was most recent. As for daily mode, you don't get to save. No one plays that anyway, so we can just skip it. However, there is one more kind of saving the game does that is shared between permadeath and non-permadeath modes: auto-saving. If you pay attention, you may have occasionally seen the saving game text appear at the bottom of the screen when entering random areas, even on permadeath. This is the game's autosave feature. This is a configurable option from the settings which saves, by default, every 5 screen transitions. It can even be turned off, but we don't talk about that here. Note that the screens don't have to be unique, you can just go back and forth between 2 screens to force an autosave. This autosave isn't usually manually loadable, but there are some cheesy exceptions. Now that we know the 3 types of saves, let's see how the game handles loading them, and how we can abuse them. In general, the game keeps track of your most recent save, be it exit save, autosave, or checkpoint, and it loads it when you continue from the character's selection screen. As an example, let's say in roleplay mode, you get a checkpoint at a village, then head 5 screens away from that checkpoint to a screen in the marshes, so the game makes an autosave. And then you quit without saving. What happens? Well, since your last save was an autosave, you will be loaded at that autosave in the marshes. Interestingly, you can still go to the menu from here and choose to restore checkpoint, which will take you back to the checkpoint at the village. In this way, provided you don't make any more checkpoints, you have a kind of master save point that you can always recall back to. Note that dying will bypass this loading your only most recent save rule, and you will always instead be returned to your last checkpoint. But let's go deeper. Even without cheesing, roleplay is practically a save state playthrough, but what about Classic? Well, my friend, let me introduce you to one of Cud's most broken exploits. Functionally, Alt F4 is identical to quit without saving, except that in Classic mode, there will never be checkpoints to take into consideration. That means that when you Alt F4 out of a Classic mode game, you will either load back into your last exit save or your last autosave, whichever was the most recent. If you have neither, the character will be deleted and will not appear on the character select screen upon restarting the game. Alt F4 works the same in permadeath and non-permadeath modes. However, since in non-permadeath you can simply use quit without saving, it's more practical to use Alt F4 in Classic mode only. Now that we know everything about save scumming, let's see some practical uses for it in-game. The most common usage is probably Alt F4ing after a death. As we already know, we'll be taken to our most recent valid save, and this also works after death. Now, I have read that you have to Alt F4 before pressing space and seeing the stat screen. However, in my testing, I was still able to reload even after bringing the screen up. But I would probably advise you to do it before pressing space, just to be safe. When you load back into the game, you will be taken to, of course, your most recent save, either auto or exit save. Using this trick, you're basically immortal on permadeath mode. Congratulations, I guess. Now let's have some fun with save exit. You may have already realized that you can simply save exit before getting into a fight that you're not sure you can win, or before entering a potentially dangerous area, or before attempting to dominate, or, well, anything really. You're basically making a save state. But this tactic has much more powerful uses. One example is vendor resetting. Most vendors restock their inventory after 5 to 7 days. However, what they have in stock is generated when you enter the same screen that they're on. So let's say you're about to enter the stilt after a good little journey. It's been quite a while, and you know all the vendors will have restocked, and you're about to make a trip to your favorite Ichor merchants. Well, stop right there. Literally, right there. Right before you enter the screen that the merchant lives on, make an exit save. Now go and see if they have what you want in stock, and if not, Alt F4. Or if you're not playing permadeath, you can just quit without saving, and then reload your save. Upon reload, go back to that screen where they are, talk to them, and again, see if they have what you want, and if not, just Alt F4 or quit without saving again, and rinse and repeat until you finally see the item that you want. It also seems that if you move a space or two before transitioning into the screen, that might have a better chance to re-roll his inventory, as it seems like sometimes if you use the same exact movements, the inventory stays the same. Also, it's somewhat unlikely, but if you're not on roleplay mode, then make sure that entering that screen will not give you a autosave upon entering. Now, sadly, from my testing, you can't save before your first trip to the stilt to reroll which vendors that you see, or any other village. But that doesn't mean we still can't have some more fun with vendors. Legendary vendors have a pretty good chance to give you the location of other legendary vendors through secrets. But you don't know what kind of secrets they're going to tell you until after you've water bonded with them, which might incur some bad reputation. Simply exit save right before talking to them, then load back up and water ritual. If the secret they tell you isn't the location of a legendary merchant, then they won't give any legendary merchant locations, and you can leave them forever. Unfortunately, through my testing, it doesn't seem you can reroll what kind of secrets they give. But if they do give you legendary locations, all 3 secrets will be locations. And as a bonus, you can simply commit them to memory and reload the save if the rep price was too high, as the locations don't actually have to be in your journal to be discovered. You could even visit them all first before reloading, that way you know exactly which tile in the parasang the location is. And again, if unfortunately you talk to them and they didn't give you the location of a legendary merchant, it's up to you if you want to reload, or you can take whatever secrets that they did give you. Although if you want to look for more legendary vendors, you will have to find a new legendary vendor to start the process over. Now there's obviously a lot more you can do with save scumming. You probably already have some ideas of your own. We would be here all day if I listed everything. But note that this will be an integral part of the cheese shop moving forward. There's probably a lot of other subtleties to the mechanic that I didn't realize, but hopefully this should be more than enough to get you started. Please let me know of anything I missed, or any mistakes that I've made, and also feel free to share your own strategies, and if there are any other cheeses you find interesting or would like me to cover. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.